So here we are, folks, back into living the cyberpunk lifestyle. First thing in the morning. Got my campfire coffee out here. Got my 420. Got to turn the damn camera around and try and see afterwards. I don't know how this is going to turn out because I got to turn the fucking camera around. Because it says that there's an ability to switch the camera views, but I can't figure out how to do that on this phone. I don't know. My old phone, the old, really ancient Samsung used to do it. Fuck, I get that later. There we go. Now we're back on track. Now we know what we're up to. God damn it. Well, we would be. My hand fucking worked. There we go. Anywho, I have to check this video out after. We're gonna see. So, as I was saying, that is, well, don't mind the fat chick walking there. That's a school that they built, and they built it over many years in the 90s because they had planned to keep building more condos and more townhouses all the way down the hill. But they fucked up and they overbuilt. Well, they overbuilt on the school, and then, see, those are the empty condo buildings. But then over there, just behind those trees on the way, those condo buildings are basically across the street from the high school that they built. And then just over to there by a block or two is another elementary school. And when you go that way, there's another elementary school. This one here in the middle was built and then finished, and then they didn't move any students in for several years because, well, they were building up all these condos and townhouses. This, like I said, that takes 2 years, 4 years to load up a building that is 300 units. You can't move in 300 people. There's only 365 days in a year. All the moving and the locking off, the scheduling for the elevator. It takes years to fill up a building. So the city of Burnaby built the school. We're going to go for a bit of a walk. See, this is the place. I got my stuff here. There's my little bit of a camp. I got the bramble bushes. So they built the school prematurely because the condos and the townhouses were still empty. Now these rich people over here in those towers, they didn't want to go because there was no towers over there at this time, 25, 30 years ago. They didn't want to go to that cheap school. That was where the poor people went to school. Whereas the school that's over there, I don't know, maybe like the equivalent of the 2 kilometers, 2.5 kilometers. It's a short distance. That was where the rich kids went to school. This part in the middle was a reclaimed landfill. So they built this school and it sat there empty for multiple years. I want to say at least 2 school semesters, could have been more like 4 or 5. But anyways, this was a long time ago. You see, when this was a landfill, it was a big hill here. And now, you see, what I looked and tried to do, and it's hard to see. That's why I had to have the camera turned around, because when it's turned around facing me, you see, down there is actually where I camp. It's easy, because once you get down here, you see how they made? This was made into a natural amphitheater. They had campfires down here where I'm camping. I mean, this is like back in the 80s. Like I said, can you see how it was a hill like that part, but the college kids, oftentimes I thought that they were from Langara because they did, see, there's kind of like the pathway goes here and it goes all the way around. But this was made into an amphitheater by the college students that went to Langara, I think. I don't know. Most of them seem to. It's also like SFU. That's the college that's actually in Burnaby, the Langara is just where a lot of the students see. The camera really doesn't do it justice, but it's a natural amphitheater that college kids literally in the summers dug these, and there was logs, there was benches. They had stolen construction materials, or they'd gotten construction materials from somewhere, and there was benches and a campfire, but they made it into like an outdoors amphitheater. See, if I stand in the middle, see, it doesn't really, the camera only picks up the certain parts. It doesn't really show you the whole round crescent of the amphitheater. Standing on the top, you can see how you could have 50 or 60 people watching a skit or a play being practiced by a theater group in the middle, or that they had acoustic guitars and like campfire songs, Kumbaya and all that hippie shit. Oop, let's see if we get the switch here. Whoa, god damn it. Tough times. I've run out of hands. Really been looking for a cameraman or somebody to work with. Actually, if I could be the cameraman and just work production and post-production, not so good at the post-production, but I got skills. It's always just that bell curve of getting back into the swing of things and having my laptop functional so that I'm not, what's that called? Oh, fuck, I should have gotten the selfie stick out. I don't know. I gotta get going. I gotta get heading up to the library. Back to the research. Back to the practicing or drawing up drafts of affidavits and Form 80s and appeals for family court, petitions to the judge for the criminal court, on and on it goes. But all this stuff, it's nuanced, and it's like, well, not say it's irregular in the law, it's just more nuanced or less. While other law firms would do it, but you'd be paying them the $50,000 retainer at the criminal law, and then they do stuff like this. So when you get the legal aid, you got to do it, go at your own, and then drag the fucking lawyer to court when you get a court date. So that's my plan. But anyways, it's tough times out here, and this is what I mean. This was like the backyard, backwoods kind of camping area. It was very rural within the city. But as I was saying, they couldn't fill those buildings up enough, and a lot of those, it was supposed to be more younger families, I guess, but it was old people and retirees. So when they built the school, there was the planned community bit, there wasn't the students to fill the school. And then the school that's over there, the poor kids school, they shut that one down for renovations, opened up this one. Half the kids from over there came over here and they filled up the school. Then as they see these ones in the front here, they're more like the townhouse, the low ones. As they built more of those and they had more poor people moving in, then they could finally, the city could finally get the city could finally get enough students to fill up this school, to fill up the other school, but all the numbers went down, and they're still building all the way down the hill, but they've priced themselves out. They've made it too expensive. So the only people who could afford to live here are the old retirees. And, you know, it seems like a busy enough area, but as I've been staying here longer, I think more of those condos are more empty than I had thought. They all have for sale signs all around them, and they're nice condos and stuff, but because they're the older stock, they're not selling so well. But a lot of them are better buildings, certainly than stuff that's just brand new late model on the market. And yet all the brand new late model on the market, so-called cheaper housing, affordable housing that they've built down the hill, there's nobody moving in there either. So it's like, this is the part where the young families come to, raise their kids in cheaper townhouse developments, but still in a nice neighborhood, still in a nice area. But they haven't filled up that area with enough of the young families, because they've priced them out so that it's like dual working professional rich people, basically, is what you'd call them, or what one would expect. I wouldn't call them rich. I'd say probably more well-to-do or stuff, but nobody's well-to-do lately, or anytime ever since Trudeau and the Liberals got in the last time. But it is, it's like these people would have been the highfalutin bastards that lived out with the lawyers and the doctors and out by UBC. But here, it's like nice, quiet. I mean, I see it. I like the area. I'm getting away with like a clean pass to just camp out in the old amphitheater, the old hippie fireside campground, the old witches coven for seances fucking area. I seen all kinds of shit like that back. I mean, we were kids riding around on bikes with slingshots, right? And so that's how I even know this. The people who are selling these condos, they don't know fucking squat about shit. Anywho, I'm done my joint, and it's one of those little known things. You see, as we turn the camera this way, this is all, oh fuck, the bramble patches. Down this way, there's like, I don't know, probably like 6, 7, maybe not quite 8, between 4 and 8 blocks that is just straight down to the major road of the South Hill or South Point. What the hell's the name of that? The one that 10th turns into, I forget now. And then Marine Drive, and then further down there before you get to the flats. So yeah, I guess, yeah, eight blocks at least. All of it's empty. All of it's filled with trees. They were planning to have already developed that part, and that would already be filled with townhouses, and also that more condominiums. See how they're not doing the condominium starts? These are all older condo buildings. They priced themselves out, and they never had the money to build more. They would have, believe you I, if the developers could have built and doubled the amount. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's only about 6, 7, 8. Well, some of them might be behind the other building or something. Condo towers all around. There's enough empty space. They would have built it, but they haven't had the ability to do that and build any more buildings since, like, I don't know, 2005. The last 20 years, they've been building those low-rise townhomes. And some of those further on down the hill are those buildings that are getting completed recently, but nobody can afford to move in. So the school enrollment is going down in the September. Now, I don't know. I'd have to look at the actual numbers and stuff, but as a general trend, as we can't even import enough people out of the third world fast enough to fill the fucking seats. Anyways, it's like a planned 15-minute city. It's a weird dichotomy of what the fuck's going on here in the greater area and the economy of jobs in the greater area. And see, those like 3, the brand new towers, they would have been building towers like that over here, but it became too expensive to the development fees and all that stuff. They could have kept up, but no, they're going to go and spread out, and that's the area where they were building the townhouses, the low-rise ones first, and then they moved over to the towers. There's some more behind those buildings up by closer to Edmonds and what they're calling the High Gate. There's just only several, and they're all empty. And over there, the townhouses are filled. And over here, now I had thought that there was like more people in those condos, that they're like 75, 80, 90% occupancy. I'm beginning to think they're more like low, like 60, 75%. There's one of them there. See the one with the little pyramid on the top? That one, I don't think there's like anybody. There may be one penthouse in the top 3 floors that's actually got lights and people and movement in it. Change of, stuff, signs of life. Some of these other ones too, it's like only the lower floors. Then they have a maximum amount of lights and people and activity. And then when you get up to the higher floors, the more expensive units, it gets more spotty. And then the penthouses are primarily, but they could just keep on building them. And I don't think they should. I mean, these low-rise townhouses and the building materials and the type of workmanship for the West Coast boreal rainforest weather, then that is more, oh my God, the kid is like decked out like Evel Knievel didn't even wear that many pads, and the kid doesn't even have a pedal bike. What do they call them, the helicopter moms? She's riding with no helmet on a $4,500 mountain bike. So yeah, she's some cool, it's what I mean, the pretenses. Ugh. Anywho, so back to about the condos and the occupancy, the planned community, that they still don't have enough people. Oh, the school's operating, the school's just not filled up. It's like, I don't know, because of the waves of the generations, that's why they need the immigrants to show up with the kids in hand to fill up the schools. Otherwise, you would realize that with the rates of abortion, with the population, when they've been telling you for the last 40 or 50 years that you don't have a replacement population numbers because people aren't producing any more than it was, maybe back in 1980 it was like 2.1 when they needed 2.35. It's down around less than one per. The people aren't having kids, and the people who are having kids are having fewer and fewer kids, and it ain't doing us any good. And if you didn't have the massive waves of immigration, you would realize none of this would be necessary, because you would have no bodies to fill the schools, fill the condos. Oh wait, that's right, there's nobody in those condos. 3 towers that are completely fucking empty. There's maybe like 15 people in 15 apartments out of 200 in each of the buildings that is actually occupied. There's nobody to, and then that's what makes it more expensive, because you're paying for your neighbor's suite to be empty too, just so you can have the prestige of living in a ghost town, living under the delusion that there's actually a housing crisis. There was never a fucking, it's cheaper, the materials are cheaper, the workmanship. The only reason why that's more expensive is because everything's going up, your cost of living, because rent is going up, and we need to support the pension funds so that the baby boomers don't realize that we've bankrupted them with all our market plays over the last 30 fucking years. Ugh. Anyways, I give up. It's been tough times out here, but living rough on the street around where the rich people is, like I was saying, it's not as many people here as the amount of housing would provide for. It is about double if they were to fill these places up around this area. Yeah, maybe it's a third, 2/3 occupancy and a third empty. But the more that they build, the more they're building empty fucking places. It's really sad, folks. It's really sad that people think that it's still a fucking housing crisis. That crisis is in the other direction. It's an affordability crisis. It's a fucking bullshit crisis. They want to build more rental. The government's giving it's a 10 years behind the bell curve, folks. When they were building these condos, there wasn't even a fucking the population for it, but they did. And like I said, each building takes like 2, 3, 4, 5 years before it gets filled up, and then the townhomes, I guess, they'll get filled up. So they build a whole new townhome development, and in 2 years it might be filled up. Within the first 2 years, there might be 60 units, and 58 of them might be occupied because it's cheaper and they can get in. And those are the people who go to the school, but they live under the shadow of the fucking empty tower developments to raise up the price of their fucking places. It's just fractional reserve banking. It's just everything's tenfold. When you've paid your deposit, you've already basically paid for your goddamn house. The 10% down or whatever, that's actually what probably in materials and workmanship went into it. It should be cheaper. The international logistics, the ability to, they tell you, the mechanization, the industrialization, and the whole process to build these goddamn houses should be getting cheaper. And everybody pretends to be stupid that they're so fucking, and then they build leaky condos because they are so fucking daft. Everybody's just pretending to be stupid and believe in the fucking lie, and don't believe the fucking hype, folks. There's never been a fucking housing crisis anywhere in this part of the world my whole fucking life. Anywho, I gotta get going off to the fucking computers and eat my cheese bun and get my shit together.